Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close. And as they close, feel the heaviness of those eyelids. Become aware of any tension in your eyebrows, around your eyes. And as you breathe in, a calm feeling of tranquility and relaxation. Notice any tension around your eyes starts to release, and feel it leaving your body in your outward breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And getting a wonderful feeling that anything you're holding on to that doesn't serve you is starting to let go. And feel it let go in your outward breath. Breathing in resourcefulness, exhaling tension, releasing stress. That's it. Notice your jaw starting to loosen. And imagine what your head would feel like if it was a helium balloon on a string. Just imagine it floating there, effortlessly, requiring no effort. All the tension can just melt away, enabling you to feel deeper and deeper relaxed. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a complex labyrinth. And maybe the labyrinth is made of brick walls and stone, or maybe hedgerows. And I want you to imagine placing yourself in the very center of the labyrinth. I want you to imagine this labyrinth is like a game, and the objective of the game is to find the way out of the labyrinth to what you would consider your optimal life. This labyrinth is so big and maybe has 6 or 7 or 8 or even more exits that would lead to wonderful lives. There is no one right answer, just a combination of choices, decisions that lead to a place that you would consider fulfillment, happiness, and connection. But while you're lost in the maze, it's very easy to prioritize short-term feelings of pleasure and gratification rather than to think of the bigger picture of creating the quality of life that you want. There is no map for this maze. It's not possible to follow a route and know for sure how to navigate the labyrinth. Therefore, there are 2 key goals that can enable you. One is a compelling vision of your future. How can you navigate the maze if you don't know what it is that you want? And the second goal is to prioritize real emotions over fabricated emotions. And the moment you choose to value all emotions, there is no need to suppress them, to medicate them. The goal is to extract all the value from the emotions. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to get a sense that the clearer your vision of your compelling future, the more your intuition will give you an insight in terms of how to leave the labyrinth through the emotions that you experience. I want you to get a sense that what in the past you've considered to be negative emotions are simply action signals, signposts that can lead you out of the labyrinth? What if those times that you felt discomfort and all of the cousins of discomfort like boredom, impatience, distress and embarrassment are giving you the action signal that you need clarity? That when you know exactly what it is that you want, you can figure out the decisions that need to be made. So many people get lost in the cul-de-sacs and the dead ends in the labyrinth of their life. These distractions are like the sirens, luring Perseus away from his mission towards the danger of the rocks. When you see these shiny things that attract your attention, these aren't appealing things. These are things to keep you locked in the labyrinth of life. As you imagine tuning into your emotions, find yourself navigating the labyrinth and realizing that fear and worry is also useful. What if fear and worry are just signals to protect what you value and prepare for the future? You can be grateful for discomfort if it gives you clarity, and you can be grateful for fear and trepidation if it enables you to become more resourceful, to mitigate risk and prepare for the future that you desire. And maybe there's been times that you've been hurt. Sometimes hurt comes from the feeling of loss. And maybe you can evaluate in these times that nothing's been lost, but a lesson has been given, that you are richer than you were before. Some of the most successful people have failed and lost the most times because what they lost was a gift. And in receiving the gift of wisdom and insight, they were able to level up in their game of life, to avoid the pitfalls. Sometimes by losing a little enables you to gain a lot. I want you to imagine that you're willing to trade your expectations for appreciations. Treat it like a magic coin that means that every time you say heads or tails, you win. That you appreciate when you get what you want in life But you can also appreciate when you don't, because you are richer for the wisdom and the insight that you've received. You start to think of this labyrinth as a game where you either win or you learn. You either make progress or you realize there's a dead end that you need to spend no more time exploring. At any moment in time, you can change your perception, change your processes, change your behavior. Every time you make a change, you get to evaluate. Do you feel better or worse? And every time you feel worse from your behavior, it's an opportunity for a feedback loop. Why would a developer continue to see bad code rather than just change the code to something better? One of the most desirable emotions, when you understand its true meaning, is frustration. Quite often, frustration means that you're on the right track, but your progress is being impeded. But what if you could become more flexible, more tenacious? What if you could find someone that's traveled on a similar path, lived in a similar labyrinth, so you can figure out the optimal things to do rather than move forward by trial and error? What if you can get fascinated by what exists on the other side of frustration? Frustration has the ability to focus your resources on a solution and feel that you can trust the power of your intelligence and intuition to start solving problems even when you're not thinking about them. Disappointment can also be a gift. Imagine spending days or weeks exploring one part of the labyrinth only to reveal it was a dead end. You wanted it to be a way out. It just wasn't. You can feel frustrated, annoyed, or angry at the time you've wasted. Or you could realize that this now gives you incredible insight to take a new direction, to become wiser than you were before, to raise your standards, to set a new goal, or to realize you're capable of something much bigger and better than the thing that you either wanted or expected. As you navigate this labyrinth, your intuition is telling you that you're making progress. But then something happens, a behavior that you make that gives you an overwhelming feeling of guilt. I want you to get a sense that guilt, very similar to regret, is an emotion that could be telling you that you violated one of your own standards, one of your own values. And this is perhaps one of the most useful signposts of all. Because if you're able to make an agreement with yourself to no longer violate that standard, that value, you become an evolved version of yourself So many problems just disappear as you learn the lesson through guilt and regret. Imagine the labyrinth closing all of the dead ends. Suddenly, this labyrinth becomes a winnable game. You still need to make progress, but you get to avoid wasting time in all of those directions that lead nowhere. I want you to feel an overwhelming sense of worthiness. You deserve to be in the maze, but you also deserve the future beyond the maze. It's in the interest of other people, perhaps even society, to convince people that they are unworthy of success, of love, of connection. But I want you to feel that no longer connects with you, that your value is intrinsic. You are valuable no matter what, your job, no matter what thing you do or place you're at. But you can amplify your value by aligning with your highest values. Consider your general mood or emotions as like that childhood game of hotter or colder. Perhaps you can remember playing a game where someone hid something, and if you got far away, they would say you were colder, and if you got closer, they would say you were warmer. When you feel at your best, you're making progress towards your optimal life. And when you feel low, ashamed, guilty, embarrassed, I want you to feel that this is actually a signpost to say that you're moving in the wrong direction. So take that on board. Treat it like intuitive GPS guiding you through the maze to your ideal future. And when you feel overloaded or overwhelmed, I want you to get a sense that the signpost here is to focus on what truly matters, to apply the Pareto Principle, to focus your attention on the things that are truly important. Your health, the people you love, and that compelling vision of your future. You can dissipate and evaporate overwhelm simply by choosing to focus on what really matters, on what you really want. And finally, you realize that you've been navigating through this labyrinth alone. But being alone does not mean that you're lonely. Someone could be surrounded by people and feel lonely, and be on their own, on an island in the ocean, and feel connected to everything. So perhaps the feeling of loneliness is a clue that you get to decide what kind of connection you really need. I want you to get a sense that there are real connections and synthetic connections. And the optimal connection will always be with yourself. What is loneliness to some is peace, solitude, and deep reflection to someone else. And when you are truly happy with your own company, loving spending time with your own thoughts and ideas, then it becomes impossible to ever feel lonely in this journey of life. I want you to get a sense that there is an element of freedom that comes when you spend time by yourself. Freedom to do what you want, when you want, however much you want. But it's a sharp, double-edged sword. Gratification is the path back deep in the labyrinth where you get lost again. Aligning with your highest values of what you truly want enables you to finally escape the labyrinth to the compelling future that you desire. And therefore, time with your own thoughts and emotions gives you intuitive access to the best possible choices and decisions you could ever make. The ultimate life-changing decisions will come when you enjoy the peace and solitude that comes when you're left with your own thoughts, when you can process your own emotions. I want you to feel that this labyrinth is now winnable. You either win or you learn. But before you leave the labyrinth, feel that the ultimate double bind is to want to escape the labyrinth, but enjoying the pursuit of escape. I want you to get a sense that life is something that you are able to enjoy the journey and the destinations. So whatever happens, you can extract all the value that life has to offer. And when you extract all the value from real life, there is no need to extract the value from anything else. It all exists within you. Breathe in and breathe out and feel like you're levitating high above the labyrinth. That the final lesson of this labyrinth is perspective. What becomes a challenging mission when you're in the labyrinth becomes obvious to see the same labyrinth from a different perspective. Feel that you can rise up and zoom out, and the labyrinth starts to look like a puzzle in a children's book, where the way out of the labyrinth is so clear, and all it needed was a different perspective on the very same situation. Breathe in and breathe out and feel like you're returning to the present as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect fully with the present moment, and feel that the game of life feels so much more winnable right now. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.